Our second lesson is from the Gospel of Matthew, the story of the visit of the Magi to Jesus. Listen now to God's word as it is given to us in the second chapter of Matthew's Gospel. In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem asking, "Where is this child who has been born King of the Jews? For we have observed his star at its rising, and we have come to pay him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem with him. And calling together all the chief priests and the scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. And they told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod secretly called the wise men and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word, so that I may also go and pay him homage." And when they had heard the king, they set out. And there ahead of them went the star that they had seen at its rising, until it stopped over the place where the child was. And when they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. And then opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another road. This is the word of the Lord. I remember the first time I saw images of deep space taken by the Hubble telescope. It was as if I was peering into the very depths of this mysterious God-created universe. I was overcome with a profound sense of wonder to encounter something that my very limited human mind could not even grasp. And I was drawn to the words of these from the 72nd Psalm. "Blessed be the Lord, the God of Israel, who alone does wondrous things. Blessed be his name forever, and may his glory fill the whole earth." Looking at those pictures, I could sense something of God's glory, the wonder of God revealed in the heavens. The wise men study the stars, and they ponder the meaning of what they find there. They ponder the meaning of this new star that has appeared, and even without the benefit of a deep space telescope, the universe for them is a place of wonder. They search for truth beyond what their own minds know, what their own experiences can give them, what their ancient philosophies can tell. They search for something new, and the natural world points them to a mystery beyond all human comprehension. And these magi, these wise men, these sages are willing to leave the comforts of their home and embark upon a dangerous and difficult journey to follow a star to some as yet undiscovered truth. They endure hardship and difficulty, we imagine. They encounter people like King Herod and his odd and dangerous ways. And yet when they come to Bethlehem, they fall down on their knees and they worship the source of their wonder. Wonder is the sense that the world in which we live is an astonishing place. Wonder is a sense of awe in the presence of mystery, or as we might say in the church, wonder is awe in the presence of the holy. These wise men, these magi, recognize the presence of something holy and the birth of Jesus, something that is beyond their comprehension, something that can only be explained by something they have never known or experienced before. Wonder is falling down on our knees and giving homage to the source of something greater than ourselves, something beyond our control, something even larger than our capacity to comprehend. Wonder leads us to the light, and we fall down in grateful appreciation. Some people would say that the world today has lost its capacity for wonder because we have reduced reality to what we can see and touch and taste and smell and hear, our five senses. We've let our minds become the measure of all things. Some of you are familiar with the writings of what we call the so-called New Atheist. Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, Christopher Hitchens, to name a few. And they attempt to reduce the universe to what the mind can know through scientific inquiry and through human reason. And they leave, by their own definition, no room for mystery, no room for God. And if we assume that all there is what we can know, evaluate, or explain by science or by reason, then we cannot possibly be led to any sense of wonder of what is real or true in God. Following the Greek philosophers, we too have made ourselves the measure of all things. We have, in a sense, displaced God from the center of this mysterious universe, and we have placed ourselves there. And the inevitable consequence of this misplacement, this overestimation of our own capacities to understand, to overextend our grasp, to control the world around us, the inevitable consequence is a loss of wonder and the creation of profound anxiety. It is to dwell in the darkness rather to live in the light. The age of wonder, some might say, has become the age of anxiety. I love the words of the poet Lawrence Ferlinghetti from the Beat generation, who said, "I'm waiting for the rebirth of wonder. I'm waiting for the age of anxiety to drop dead." Anxiety, a sense of dread of the unknown, anxiety that become incapacitating, paralyzing, a psychological insecurity. And King Herod is the master of anxiety. King Herod knows all about anxiety because he's all about wanting to control everything around him. He knows very little about wonder. It's his own insecurity that leads him to be anxious about the visit of the Magi, the birth of this new child, and it leads him to hold on to power, to manage and manipulate the world. For when they come seeking information from the king about the birth of a new king who has been born in Israel, there is no room, Herod thinks, for another king in Israel. But the truth is, Herod was not born to be king. His grandfather was a general. His father was a politician. They invented a family tree out of what I might call store-bought ancestors. They converted to Judaism for political reasons. He was placed on the throne by defeating the last legitimate Hasmonean king, and he was put on the throne by the emperor Octavius and ratified by the Roman Senate. He took the throne in anxiety. And now he hears of the birth of this possibly new legitimate king of the actual line of David. He has every reason to be anxious, and like anxiety-driven people, he overreacts, he plots, he schemes, he causes many people, even innocent children, to die. Herod denies the possibility that something wonderful, something awesome, something beyond comprehension could possibly happen in Israel, the nation he controls with an iron fist, something that would be a light for all the world. The wise men follow the star to the light and wonder, and Herod is trapped in his own dark and anxious plans. We live in an age of anxiety. And we are anxious this past year about the rise of ISIS and global terrorism, the rise and fall of the market, privacy in an age of technology, the spread of Ebola. It touches us as individuals as well. There's so much that impacts your life and my life that really things that are beyond our control. And so what do? We overreact, we overplan, we try to control them, and we become all wrapped up in our own plans. The rise and fall of the market, the daily grind at work, in school, the struggles we face in our relationships, the concerns we have about our health, we grasp, we hoard. We think we can make ourselves secure, and we leave no room for wonder. We treat other people as objects to manipulate, to use for our own purposes, rather than to simply stand in awe at the mystery of their otherness. Anxiety leads us to reduce things to manageable size. Some years ago, I attended a Christmas party that was given for children in the city who lived in a variety of shelters. The idea of the party was to invite these children to come and then let them select gifts that were laid out on tables, gifts not so much for themselves, but for their family members. So they too would have that sense of joy we feel in giving to another. And so they selected their gifts, and then they sat down on the floor with scissors and wrapping paper and tape and ribbons and bows and began to wrap them. I sat down next to a boy who was probably 8 or 10 years old, I'm not sure. And he was doing a pretty good job of wrapping this package with one arm and a few fingers because the other arm was in a cast. So trying to make conversation, I said, "Well, how'd you break your arm?" And he said, "I didn't break it." And he kept on wrapping. "Well, what happened?" "A man broke in and shot me in the hand." Where in this child's life is there any room for wonder? The Magi who seek the Christ child know that they live in a world in which children get shot, in which politicians rule with an iron fist, in which people suffer, and yet they have an openness in their minds and their hearts to something other, something greater, something different. They are open to a sense of wonder, a wonder in God's activity. Only those with the eyes of faith can see what God is doing. That this world is a God-filled world. It is a world that is charged with mystery and wonder and miracle. In his book with the simple title, Moses, the Jewish theologian Martin Buber writes about what it is like to see the world through the eyes of faith. And his discussion about the parting of the water at the Red Sea, Buber says that a miracle means nothing more than an abiding sense of astonishment, in which the current system of cause and effect becomes, as it were, transparent, and a glimpse of the sphere in which a sole power, not restricted by any other, is at work. The cause and effect world in which we live, this world of anxiety, becomes transparent, and we glimpse that sole singular power at work which we know as God. To live in wonder is to peel back the layers of contingency and to live each day with a sense of the holy, a wonder in the mystery of this God-created world. It is to fall down and to worship the Christ born in Bethlehem, to give ourselves to Him. Some time ago, a man came into my study and sat down on the sofa and began to speak. He was someone that you and I might say seemed to have it all. You know, a great job, a nice family, a good reputation, active in the community. But that's how it looks from the outside, isn't it? He sat down on the sofa and he said, "You know, things are going well at my work. My family seems to be doing all right, doing fine, but I'm here because I missed something. And I'm not exactly sure what it is. I have this terrible sense of anxiety. I want a better life, a deeper life. Could it be that I need God? I am waiting for the rebirth of wonder. I am waiting for the age of anxiety to drop dead. I am waiting to say yes to God, to the light, to the child born in Bethlehem. Amen.